how you doing? We are here for another CinemaWins reaction video. This time we are going to be doing Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Just finished my Everything Wrong with video on the CinemaSins one, and yep, pretty excited to react to Lee's take on it. So without further ado, let's get this over with. Do, do, do. Do, do. Episode 2.
Talk about compelling villains. We know that Palpatine is controlling the Senate at this point, and it's not hard to guess that he's controlling the Separatist movement as Darth Sidious as well. What chance do the good guys have?
Yep. It's honestly pretty funny that Palpatine's on both sides, but yep, that explains why he wins the Clone Wars in the end.
An opening shot to rival opening shots.
Oh yeah.
Satellites and various ships bouncing around the orbit of Coruscant like gnats as more calming mirror-shine Naboo ships approach the glorious city planet, illustrating the relative vertical orientation of space as they roll over to land on the southern hemisphere.
Yep, it still looks amazing. Jeez, this movie is is almost over 20 years old now, which is insane. But yeah, I also noticed, I can't remember, like other movies, you would see the planet, like the camera would pan, and you see the planet below. But this one, we see the planet on top of the camera. I don't know, just a weird detail, but yeah, that I kind of like.
Ben, Bert, you are a genius. You might be the best thing going in Star Wars overall. You create a sense of scale just by the sounds these ships make.
Yeah. Wilhelm
sacrifice.
Oh, there was a Wilhelm scream there. I mean, it was kind of a different version of it, but yeah. And yeah, self-sacrifice, of course.
Picking up right where we left off in The Phantom Menace, the mere fact that a Sith Master can sit in front of the members of the Jedi Council without question is further exposition about their complacency.
Yep, I said something similar.
Sort of moot at this point since Phantom Menace's Puppet Yoda was replaced, but while
Yeah.
Puppet Yoda will always hold a special place in my heart, it can't really compare to the expressiveness of digital Yoda's eyes and facial expressions. What?
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think now, do I prefer CG Yoda or Puppet Yoda? Like Puppet Yoda in the original trilogy, not the old Phantom Menace version. Honestly, I can't tell because they're both amazing.
What? Rose Byrne is in this movie?
Yep, she is.
Fell into that nightmare, Master.
And I rescued you, remember?
Oh, yes.
I would have asked for more friendship building between these two, but my interpretation is that the last 10 years have been a mostly typical master/Padawan relationship/friendship that was meaningful enough for Obi-Wan to recount in Episode 4. Obi-Wan's smile is enough for me to assume that Padme, or even the potential of seeing Padme after 10 years, is what sends Anakin into his tailspin. Obi-Wan's playful
Relax
shows that this isn't typical behavior for Anakin.
My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that is one complaint I've heard about the prequels, that they don't develop Obi-Wan and Anakin's friendship as well as they could have. I kind of see what they're talking about, but I mean, I think they do the best they can in the short run time they have. I think they did the best they could. So I mean, like I still like believe it. Like I believe Obi-Wan in Episode 4 when he talks about that they were good friends, and I'll say Clone Wars as well helped solidify it even further.
That's it, girl.
So
You, gone more beautiful. I mean.
Solid evidence that Anakin has no idea how to deal with these emotions that both Yoda and Obi-Wan have been telling him to suppress.
Yeah, it's like people complaining about Anakin being awkward in this scene, but it's like he's literally never had to flirt with girls before, so of course he'd be awkward.
And you'll always be that little boy I knew on Tatooine.
Highway to the dangers, I mean, friend zone.
we will not exceed our mandate, my young Padawan.
Well, I guess still Danger Zone because oh, I guess that's the joke, but yeah, Danger Zone says Anakin goes on to choke his wife.
One learner, and you will pay attention to my lead, and you will learn your place, young one.
And it's at this point that we see that Obi-Wan never really learned how to be a master and that he's failing Anakin. His arrogance issues have only gotten worse without Qui-Gon to balance him out. While this is evidence of Anakin's ego as well, it's also terrible, terrible teaching or parenting, as is often the Master-Padawan relationship.
Yep.
Embarrassing and demeaning your apprentice in public serves no purpose other than to put distance between you.
And you will pay
That's a really good point. It's like Obi-Wan's my favorite character, but holy cow, yeah, he does have flaws. About the way he taught Anakin and puts him under him basically. It's like, yeah, it's like no wonder or Anakin doesn't trust him enough to like talk to him about Padme and stuff. Yeah.
attention to my lead. Why? What?
And again, we get the sense that Anakin is not usually this insubordinate. This is Anakin very childishly showing off for Padme, as he has no experience dealing with girls.
I just said that a couple seconds ago.
That attuned to my young apprentice. And yours are?
Possibly.
Credit goes to my wife in this analogy. Obi-Wan is like the C student tutoring/training the A+ student. Not only did he not really want to take Anakin on, he feels unprepared, and also that he needs to compete and prove himself worthy.
Ew.
Nope.
Yeah.
Points for trying, R2. You can't always be the hero.
R2's biggest screw up ever. Well, unless you count him being useless in the sequel trilogy, but oh well.
Whoa, that's sick.
Yeah.
First showcase of Anakin's saber skill is more precise than anything we've seen so far. Remember when Yoda accused Luke of being reckless, and then Obi-Wan was all like, "So was I, yo, if you remembers," or something like that? That's how Alec Guinness talked, right?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So was I, if you remember.
So, yeah. Also, this plays back to the insecurity about just being shown up by Anakin in Force sensitivity. Hey, another Doug. That's definitely not Sebulba, because it's racist when you assume every member of a particular race is a character you've already met. Bunch of racists out there.
I think that's like a reference to like in the Phantom Menace video. He like there's a Rodian and he like said, "Oh, that's Greedo." Another Rodian. "Oh, that's Greedo's dad." I wonder if that's like he realized, oh wait, that's racist, and is like kind of amending that. Yeah.
Saving your ungrateful master.
What took you so long?
Oh.
X-Wing
Oh, sorry. I thought I was gonna quote Anakin there.
being chased by 3 TIE fighters. Seriously, it's right there.
It is, isn't
Like
it?
the CGI or not, you
I
have
don't.
to give ILM some credit for the detailed work they created for just some quick drive-by shots. And
Yeah.
you'll notice that the architecture changes as the chase moves farther from Padme's apartment, from tall, modern buildings to more run-down section to the industrial part of the city, and then to the Vegas section. Is this more AC? Pod?
Yep. Again, this came out in 2002. Like all the CGI is, I mean, not all of it looks real, but it is dang impressive.
Racing still done by living beings, but football is played by robots now. Baby steps.
I I hate that it feels like that future is coming in real world. Just robots being all over the place now.
To sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your
I
life.
want to go home and rethink my life.
Excellent personal health and wellness advice.
Yep.
3PO, you look so naked.
Yep, that's Anthony Daniels. Ahmed Best, who was Jar Jar, also shows up in this briefly.
The prequels, this film in particular, get flack for being too clean and shiny because of the blue screen environments. Simple thing, but I feel the need to point out that this back alley is dirty and filled with trash.
It is.
No patience.
I think she said Slimo, but sure.
Paid off. Your guidance more than my patience.
Darth Vader is partly a victim story. Without the
Kind
right
of is.
guidance from the master he yearns for approval from, he was easily manipulated by a powerful Sith who not only would allow him to indulge his darker urges, but also inflates his ego.
You are the most gifted Jedi I have ever met.
Yeah, I've heard that. He is kind of a victim. I mean, of course, that doesn't excuse him killing younglings. Of course, don't get me wrong. Like him killing all the Jedi and the kids, like that doesn't excuse him of that. But yes, the fact that like if Qui-Gon were still alive, he could have like taught him a lot better. And Obi-Wan really wasn't the best teacher for him. And again, if Qui-Gon were still alive, he wouldn't have been tempted by Palpatine as much. I feel like he wouldn't have been persuaded. So yeah.
Now we can compare Palpatine's office to that alley and something feels off, right? We're not used to everything being so clean. But this is the peak of civilization on a city planet. I guarantee there are more cleaning droids per building than living beings.
Yep. Yep. This is the capital of the Republic before all the Empire. Yeah, it does make sense to me that it would look very clean.
Even more powerful than Master Yoda.
And that explains where he got this from.
Rival Master Yoda as a swordsman.
I thought I already did.
Abilities have made him, well, arrogant.
A flaw more and more common among Jedi, even the older, more experienced ones.
Now that Qui-Gon is gone, Yoda is really the only one left feeling the world unravel. Well, at least the only one that hasn't turned to the dark side. And Obi-Wan is still so arrogant he doesn't even know when he's being backhanded by the Master.
More humility and
Jar Jar, I don't wish to hold you up.
And you say Lucas doesn't listen or care about your feelings. Jar Jar was just told to shut it.
He never listens. He doesn't understand.
It's not fair.
Anakin's issue has always been his emotions being too strong. This is just evidence of that. He never really learned how to deal with them.
Right.
And a star was born.
12 parsecs outside the Rishi Maze.
Silly CGI character. Parsec is a unit of time.
I like that, yeah. Like, I know when Lucas wrote A New Hope, like, it's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Like, Lucas made it seem like that parsec is a unit of time, and I guess he's learned from that. So by the time he made this movie, yeah. Oh, yeah, parsec actually means a unit of distance, not time. So, yeah. And then I guess Solo kind of fixed that with the whole Kessel Run thing, but I remember Lee talks about it when he does Solo, so we'll talk about that later.
Item does not appear in our records. It does not exist.
When Jedi librarians start getting snooty, maybe it's time to clean house.
That's George Lucas's son, that kid. So, yeah.
So you might say that
we are encouraged to love.
Some good old dark side rationalization.
You're exactly the way I remember you.
I'm not actually. He said that dark side. Yeah, dark side. What?
We are encouraged to love.
Some good old dark side rationalization.
Rationalization. I don't know if I'd say that really. Like, no, because Jedi are supposed to like care. That's their whole thing. Jedi are selfless, while Sith are selfish. The whole thing with Jedi is that they're supposed to like protect people. So, like, I do agree with Anakin that they are supposed. They are kind of encouraged to love, like to care for others. The problem is, of course, loving too much. That was as Anakin's flaw, that he takes that too far, like loving to the point of obsession, to the point of blind love, basically. So yeah.
You're exactly the way I remember you in my dreams.
Okay, so just the slightest bit of defense for this love subplot. Women have fallen for worse. Whatever your personal opinions on Anakin's appearance, women seem to adore him.
Yeah.
Or at least Lucas's daughter and Jar Jar do.
Oh, he pointed out Ahmed Best too. I didn't know.
Maybe that's just his
I did not know that was Lucas's daughter, though.
Jedi aura. But also, if you shower someone with attention long enough, they may eventually give in. Well, that gives credence to Obi-Wan claiming to have been trained by Yoda in the original trilogy.
Yep.
In a universe filled with deserts, cloud, water, and volcano worlds, Naboo is like a perfect idealized version of Earth, with exaggerated features. And it's depicted even more beautifully than in Phantom Menace.
It is.
This is a perfect example of blending real environments with just a little CG enhancement.
Oh, Anakin's not a Jedi yet. He's still a Padawan learner.
Now we know the real reason he force chokes her out on Mustafar. Just kidding, no one ever force choke a woman.
Yeah. It's like just like Anakin looked so frustrated. Like he was all like, "Excuse me, I'm in charge of security here, my lady." Yeah.
Say, this is a really inventive way to achieve light speed travel with a small ship.
That's a good detail, because the fact that starfighters needed light speed rings back during the prequel era, because then he goes to the original trilogy era, and starfighters don't need those. Like, they can travel through light speed on their own. That's a really good detail.
The Kaminoans are an extremely interesting addition to Star Wars.
Yeah.
The insanely sterile white interiors as if they all have seasonal affective disorder and literally feed off of the light, which would make sense on a planet where it seems to rain and be dark 24/7. The contrast is beautiful, and they're an elegant and unique alien race with very fluid, sing-songy speech patterns and movements. And Obi-Wan's entire time on the planet is uneasy. Sure, they're acting nice and sweet, but are they going to try to eat him at some point? Who knows? The Ewoks are pretty vicious.
Yeah. I would also say, too, the fact that this clone army, like, conveniently spawns out of nowhere just in time when the Republic needs them. Like, yeah, that's a little suspicious, of course. But then they find out that the Separatist droid army, like, is coming up against them. So it's like, oh shoot, we need this clone army. We don't have time to worry about why are they here, where they come from. We need them right now. So yeah.
Costume designer.
Well, I guess. Well, they know. They think that Sifo Dyas is like ordered a clone army. So it's not like they're completely like, you know what I mean. I think hopefully.
His hair and makeup artists, pretty much all the people that made up Padme's team are getting a win.
Yeah.
Everything she wears is beautiful, and her hair is always in some fancy schmancy updo. Yikes.
Here everything is soft.
You're traveling together, her life is in danger. He's basically Kevin Costner to her Whitney Houston, and he's constantly complimenting and making inappropriate advances. Eventually you're gonna give in, right? No?
I mean, I'm not like a huge expert on romance, but I mean, I kind of buy that. But also, but also, I feel like Padme like gets, like she does get to know Anakin more, so she does like start to fall for him. It's like it's not entirely that. That's like, because she does have feelings for him too.
Okay, so here's a better theory. He's been Jedi mind tricking her unintentionally from the beginning. He's made it clear that he wants to be with her, and he's more powerful than even he knows. I mean, his hand is up right before they kiss.
You gonna use one?
I thought about that. I actually thought about that idea. Like, maybe that's why, but I don't like that idea, just because I don't want to imagine and Padme's feelings for him being, fake. So yeah, no, I don't like that idea.
One of your Jedi mind tricks on me?
They only work on the weak mind.
Well, unless you're Darth Vader. I don't know, it's a possibility.
Please no.
Maybe not complete mind control, but strong influence. Jedi mind control has to be a continuum more than an on-off switch, right?
Dark curly hair, dreamy eyes.
Alright, I get the picture.
He displays jealousy, she clearly wants him to be jealous. And this conversation thread can only come about from talking about love and relationships, which is the second time they've done so. So as crazy as it seems, she's been harboring feelings for him as well.
Yeah.
She's just a little older and doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve.
Well, then
Yeah, I guess that's a better way of saying what I was trying to explain earlier. Yeah, she does have feelings for him too. She's just not like explaining them as much as Anakin is.
should be made to.
Vader shadowing. Also Leia buns.
Yep.
See, this is the stuff I love. Let's have a bird that looks like a pterodactyl, but it can also swim underwater.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.
Honesty.
Yep. And then Boba Fett would go on to quote that in The Mandalorian. So yep.
Love that little subtle look into the closet to see Django's bounty hunter gear. Fun scene in general.
Yeah.
They're both so polite to each other, but Django knows Obi-Wan, and now Obi-Wan knows Django. Just a fun spy versus spy game.
If Obi-Wan caught me doing this, he'd be very grumpy.
Flirting?
Kind of
At this
is.
point, we know that Padme has feelings for Anakin. From the time they arrive at the Naboo Lake house, you can tell her guard is down. She doesn't rebuff his advances, she engages in flirting, and even though she says this,
Just not possible.
she put herself in a room alone by a fire in the dark and sits on the same couch as him and also says,
It'll take us to a place we cannot go, regardless of the way we feel about each other.
now,
Right.
please don't misunderstand. I'm not
And also the clothing she wears, like, I feel like she was kind of asking for it.
saying she was asking for it or anything like
Kind of.
that, but we know from the future that she does love him.
Yeah.
This is just a bit of evidence of that love.
Okay, he explained it a lot better, honestly. Yeah.
I think it is time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished.
Too little too late, Windu. But points for trying. Up close and personal view of Slave One Boba ship is awesome.
Yep.
We don't get a lot of hand-to-hand combat in the Star Wars universe, so Django and Obi-Wan throwing down is pretty fresh.
That's true.
Grappling hook save. Well, that proves that there was at least one clone trooper left over in the ranks of the stormtroopers. Who needs to clone the predisposition for head smacking?
Yeah.
My wife-
I almost forgot to mention, maybe this is a hot take. Well, I guess after the Boba Fett show, maybe not anymore. But even before the Boba Fett show came out, Jango Fett is better, honestly, than Boba Fett. Like, Jango Fett goes up against Jedi a lot. Like, he actually is capable of fighting against Jedi. Meanwhile, Boba Fett has a hard time against Luke, and it's like, yeah, come on, dude. Like, yeah. Like, he was able to fight against Obi-Wan. He shoots down that one Jedi, like, that jumps up to kill Dooku, and Jango just, like, shoots him. Yeah. The only Jedi he struggled against is Mace Windu, but Mace Windu is one of the most powerful Jedi ever, so that makes sense.
My wife loves those little guys. She says they have to be a win.
Oh.
Can you tell my wife and I watched this together for this video? Everything about this sequence is a win.
Yeah.
Beautiful planet with increasing scale as the two ships approach the asteroid belt, and then these.
Oh, that's so
Blade sound
satisfying.
explosions are one of the best weapons in Star Wars.
Yep.
And Obi-Wan's avoidance of the seismic charge and the narrow escape from the torpedo is exhilarating, tense, and it's always fun to see Obi-Wan outsmart someone.
Yep.
Even if he totally doomed the Millennium Falcon. Boba Fett's gonna remember that trick.
I mean, I don't think Boba Fett literally remembered that, but sure.
C3PO.
And a nickname was born. This is some wish fulfillment. Anakin meeting Luke's guardians and then sitting where Luke would someday sit and whine about something or other.
Oh, actually, I saw a meme that the roofing, like, Beru said that Beru said that she wanted Owen to, like, paint the ceiling, and then you go to A New Hope, like, 20 years later, and that ceiling looks the exact same. So Owen has still not painted it. So yeah.
Happy accident that Anakin's shadow looks a little like Vader's helmet right there.
Oh,
This
yeah.
off-screen conversation with only shadows is a definite win. Hugging. Duel of the Fates is still amazing.
Yep.
Especially with a Tatooine sunset.
Oh, I love this shot, man.
This short little Tuscan camp score is one of my favorites in the film. Perfect expression of how Anakin's brain is currently working.
Yeah. Do you see the head? The head falls off that Tuscan Raider. It's like, holy. After Anakin cuts him, like, this movie is rated PG. Like, honestly, I feel like this movie in particular pushes the violence really far. And it's like, how does this not have a PG-13 rating? Like, holy cow.
We prefer not to be in the movie. Blue milk?
Yep. I killed them all.
Make fun of this performance all you want. This is the moment when he feels the pull to the dark side, but barely understands it, as if he wasn't in control of his actions. Although, personally, I think they should have used the original recording.
Not just the men.
But the women and the children too. They're like animals. And I slaughtered them like animals.
Anyway, Imperial March.
Yep.
I wasn't strong enough to save you, Mom. But I promise I won't fail again.
This is the true beginning of Anakin's turn to the dark side that concludes with his fear of losing Padme. Also, how did I not know Michael Swain was Uncle Owen? Right? Dead Ringer? Still
I don't
better
get that.
treatment than Gandalf got from Saruman.
What
I guess so.
if I told you that the Republic was now under the control of the Dark Lord of the Sith?
I love this whole interrogation scene. In quotes, because Dooku isn't bothering to get information out of Obi-Wan, he's just sowing the seeds of doubt and confusion, exactly as Darth Sidious would have him do.
Yeah. I like that too, because like Dooku, of course, was once a Jedi, and he was Qui-Gon's master, and it's just cool. I just like that Dooku like tries to get Obi-Wan to join him. Like he still has care for the Jedi. It's really cool.
So this assembly line set piece was added after the movie was mostly done because Lucas thought there wasn't enough action.
That's
It's
crazy.
Really pretty. It separates Anakin from his lightsaber and puts 3PO into the final action for some comic relief with puns almost as good as Mr. Freeze.
That's really cool. Like it does explain why the CGI looks a bit rough, but yeah, most part, like the fact that they're able to complete all that CG in a small amount of time is really impressive. Like especially again for 2002, like man.
I don't care how we got here. Love is always a win, especially when it's framed like this.
Oh yeah.
Decided to come and rescue you.
Good job.
Thankfulness.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I said the thing.
Maybe you felt my stretching here and there, but pretty much from here on out, I have no complaints.
Me
Starting with
too.
these Colosseum animals that are distinctly designed, frightening with good sound effects. I unimaginatively yet lovingly call them Rhino, Spider Crab, and Kitty Rat.
That scream that Geonosian makes. Yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. The green thing is called an Acklay. The rhino is called Reek, I think. And then the possum looking thing is a Nexu. Yeah, I think so.
About Padme.
She seems to be on top of things.
And who doesn't love a good pun?
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I love that Padme sheds her hesitation and distressed damsel facade from Phantom Menace.
Yep. Yep. Star Wars already has strong female characters way before Rey. Just saying.
Just that scream. Every time.
Yeah.
And that one. Making new friends. Not Kitty Rat.
This party's over.
Ha! Finally, just the slightest shade of Samuel L. Jackson that we know and love. I realize more lightsabers doesn't automatically mean better, but it also doesn't make it automatically terrible. And this is more wish fulfillment for something I've always wanted to see. There's Mace Jackson, not a care in the world.
Yep. Honestly, this whole sequence is just so much fun. It's like this is one of those movies where it's enjoyable for like 2/3, but then you get to the third act, and I'm just having the time of my life. Like seeing Jedi fight battle droids, seeing the clones come in fighting battle droids, and then the Yoda duel at the end. It's like, oh man, first 2/3 might have been a little boring at times, but when it gets to that third act, it's like, yeah, it was all worth the wait.
But really, I don't know what I like more. Samuel L. Windu's nonchalance and ease of dispatching, or the fact that Lucas essentially threw a little sly callback to Boba in there.
How's it a callback? I'm not sure actually, but okay.
It's such a drag. I'm quite beside myself.
That's yeah.
Homer Simpson pilot? And a fan favorite character was born. Stop playing with your dad's head.
His head fell out of the helmet when Django cut it off. I'm just saying. I don't know why people think his head was still in the helmet, guys. It wasn't.
This is about as Star Wars has ever been. And getting to see where the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan mentions in the future started is really satisfying.
Yep.
Wait, the Geonosians drew the plans for the Death Star? Does that get retconned in Rogue One?
I don't think so.
In the future, tell me what happens.
No, I'm pretty sure. No, like, I'm trying to remember. I know there was that Catalyst book that went into further detail about Galen Erso and his backstory. I'm pretty sure they said that Galen Erso was a part of the Geonosians. Well, he was with the Geonosians when they created Death Star plans. I might be wrong on that. You can correct me if I am. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they just retconned that Galen Erso was there with the Geonosians when they made it.
No, stop. I'm just kidding. No spoilers.
I guess there's a spoiler alert there.
So, there isn't a single live-action clone trooper in this film. They never even made a suit. But
that blew my mind.
Did a great job of grounding them and making them look dirty and battle-worn.
Honestly, the CG does look really good for the clones. Like, I didn't know that they were CG, so that tells you how good it is that I didn't know.
Clone teamwork. B- for execution, but an A for effort. A really cool idea.
Yeah.
Kenobi,
you disappoint me. Yoda holds you in such high esteem.
This says it's almost nothing to do with this movie, but you know how everyone was upset that Finn holds his own with Kylo Ren in Force Awakens? Just pointing out that dark side users have a tendency to toy with their adversaries.
That's true, yeah. I like that he doesn't add a win too, because that was something for Force Awakens. But I guess you could say that's a win here too, the fact that Dooku taunts Obi-Wan. Yeah. He's just wants to see him do better.
Saving your seemingly more grateful this time master.
Yep.
Even the briefest amount of double lightsabers is a win.
Yep. I honestly wish he had more too. I wish he held 2 lightsabers more in this fight.
Execution B+ this time and an A+ for effort. Lighting their faces with only lightsaber light is a nice touch.
Yep.
You gotta love that Yoda just discards whatever Dooku throws at him as if a telekinesis throwing match is beneath him.
Much to learn, you still have.
Okay, that's an awesome line as he takes in the Force lightning. It doesn't bother me that Yoda can harness the Force for a brief time to fight like a maniac and then goes back to his cane. But have you ever considered that he absorbs that energy and then uses it? No?
I don't think so.
Use your cynicism off switch. Let the awesome flow through you.
Yep.
This duel gives a whole new meaning to that time Yoda asked Luke about his size mattering.
Yep, I've always loved Yoda fighting. I know some people were upset about this, like, oh, Yoda shouldn't wield a lightsaber at all. Well, sorry, that's what Lucas thinks he should. So, and he created Yoda in the first place, so I think he has the right to say that. And I mean, I've always liked seeing him with a lightsaber. I remember seeing this duel for the first time and being that is so cool. But yeah, hold on. Hold on, I gotta run an errand real quick. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm back. And I have a life outside of YouTube. What a surprise.
Saving these idiots. And they continue to add fun new hyperspace ships. This Solar Sailor is sleek.
Yeah.
Not victory. The shroud of the dark side has fallen.
Finally, Yoda gets it. While this film doesn't do much in terms of rivaling Empire, this ending is pretty epic and ominous.
Yep.
Even the wedding that should be a happy occasion has the sting of failure in the Shroud of Darkness.
Oh, that's true.
You guys still with me out there?
I
know I
am.
lost some of you over last week, but compared to this week, Phantom Menace was a gimme. So I fully expect to see my subs plummet after this week. Based on the overwhelming majority of Phantom Menace comments about Clone Wars and Rebels being canon, I'm gonna start by apologizing for that. Darth Maul comes back in canon, and it's great.
Yeah, I talked about that too. That he knows he now knows that was a mistake he made. So yeah, I'm glad he rectified that.
Hopefully he'll be in Episode 8. Ray Park needs the work.
Spoiler alert: Maul dies years before the events of Episode 8 takes place. Yeah, he died in Rebels. So yeah, he wouldn't. So sadly, he wouldn't have been able to come back for Last Jedi. It would have been cool though, but yeah.
When comparing Attack of the Clones to The Empire Strikes Back, nah, don't do that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like Attack of the Clones. Though for me, of the 6 Lucas movies, it is definitely my least favorite. But I still think it's good. I still enjoy my time watching it. But yeah, it doesn't compare to Empire Strikes Back, which is just 10 times better. Empire is my second favorite movie. Yeah.
When looking at Attack of the Clones as the follow-up to The Phantom Menace, some cracks still start to show.
Not really. I still think I'd say it's a decent enough follow-up, but yeah.
There are some hard-to-defend elements in this film. Lucas admitted early on that he wasn't a great dialogue writer, and I think part of the problem that came up in the prequels is having a younger cast.
Yeah, I remember somebody commenting that, oh, you have to admit Lucas isn't a great dialogue writer and all. And yeah, I know, he isn't. And I'll admit he's not amazing at it, but I mean, I've seen these movies so many times, it doesn't really bother me anymore. And I'll admit the fact that a lot of the lines became memes helps a lot. So, yeah, there's that.
Harrison Ford apparently went through each script and changed a lot of his lines to sound more natural. With a younger, inexperienced cast, you're going to have actors trying to please an important director in an important series, and they're going to keep their notes to themselves.
Right, that's true. Yeah, the fact that back when they were making the original trilogy, there was nothing. But then you go to the prequels, suddenly everyone knew, oh, shoot. This guy made Star Wars. We gotta please him. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. The fact that the prequels felt like they were made. Lucas is surrounded by yes men because they just trusted him blindly, which isn't entirely true, but
Developed love story and the occasional distracting CG environment aside, my question remains: was I entertained? I wasn't lying when I said I watch all the prequels every few years. There is a lot of fun in this film. The overall story is solid, and the final result totally works for me.
Me too.
Love, the Clone Wars have started. Boba Fett is created, and Darth Sidious is just playing everyone like a fiddle. I mean, he is the man bat. He's bad man. Something Attack of the Clones does well is split the movie into a mystery detective story with a basic love story, and then merges them together in a believable way so everyone's back together for the final act. The weaker side is obviously the Naboo love story. People hated young Anakin Skywalker, but no one knew how much they'd hate teenage Anakin. As I pointed out already, we're getting a glimpse at a completely unsocialized teen with raging hormones. Force moans.
I've thought about her every day since we've parted.
So it's not like any other females were throwing Anakin off his game. Not only was it a new issue for him to deal with, but Obi-Wan also had no clue what to do with Annie's feelings for Padme. I get the feeling not many Jedi had to deal with this at all.
Right.
And man, was Obi-Wan not the one for the job.
He wasn't.
Their relationship is tense. It seems to be something that has recently started as Anakin is coming into his own and realizing his potential. Because Obi-Wan is a bit envious of his power, he does actually seem to try to hold him back as much as possible. He never adapts his teaching style.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I guess I could see some of that. Obi-Wan being a little jealous and wanting to hold him back. I never thought about that. I guess I could see that. Maybe, yeah.
To his student. He only publicly flogs him and attempts to put him in his place, going so far as to threaten expulsion from the Jedi Order for trying to rescue Padme. I feel like I should make it clear that I still love Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
I've been hard on him, but he's this way by design.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's my favorite character. But yeah, he is a flawed character, and that is part of what makes him compelling.
He was put into a crappy situation with a Padawan destined to be Darth Vader. He can only do what the Jedi Council has taught him. Unfortunately, as I'll get into more next week, they're ultimately wrong.
Yeah.
I brushed over Ewan McGregor last time because everyone agrees he's great. But he really got a chance to shine out on his own this time.
Yeah.
Even in moments when he's sitting alone in a room with blue floors and blue walls talking to himself. He also sells Bad Mentor really well, and a lot of what he does says and ties nicely into Al Guinness's performance.
Yep. As I am recording this, I think Ewan McGregor's birthday was yesterday. So yeah, happy birthday to him. He's in his 50s now, which is insane to think about. But yeah, he's a phenomenal actor.
Hayden Christensen is a good actor who is given dialogue ranging from weak to laughable, and he really did the best he could. Go watch Life is a House and Shattered Glass if you don't believe me. I also love Jumper. As far as being...
I mean, yeah. I know Hayden Christensen got a lot of flack for his performance. He wasn't great in episode 2. I think he does a better job in episode 3. He has a better performance there. And his performance in this one isn't as good, but I still think he did an all right job. It's like I'm not really that bothered that his acting isn't amazing, but yeah, I mean, I still buy some of the emotions from him, So yeah, and though I am also glad that he has kind of gotten a resurgence recently. He came back into Obi-Wan Kenobi show, he came back into Ahsoka show, and everybody loved that. So it is nice. He's got a resurgence in recent years. People are starting to welcome him into the Star Wars fan base a lot more, basically. So that's cool. Good for him.
Being bratty and whiny, all the Skywalkers whine. Every Single?
Yes.
And personally, I think he sells torn between light and dark pretty well. He's no Adam Driver, but who is? Natalie Portman was able to shed her queen makeup and monotone delivery and prove she can carry a scene even with cringy dialogue.
Yep.
And Padme is a capable, resilient character that girls can be proud to look up to. Mostly. They simplified the political plot a little this time around Palpatine grabbing power through creating a civil war.
That's true.
It's genius, really. I know praising the bad guy seems anti-win, but since this is in large part his story, it's fair to say that he's a well-crafted character.
He is.
Just the right amount of saccharine pandering as the Chancellor while he finishes the movie full Emperor, rubbing his hands together and stroking his white kitty. Not this kitty. This kitty died.
Oh, is that a Bond reference? I just noticed. Yeah, I think that's like Blofeld in the Bond movies has a cat that he like strokes. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, Palpatine he's insanely clever. I know people like to nitpick his plan, and yeah, there are definitely parts of it you can nitpick. Very similar to the Joker, The Dark Knight, where it's like, did you really plan this out? I get it, but oh well.
Didn't get too much into it in The Phantom Menace because I had a lot to talk about. But there are some shots in Attack of the Clones that rival anything we've seen in Star Wars before. You can't deny the world building, and every once in a while we get a beautiful...
this shot is beautiful, too.
...framed shot lit just right, and there is some truly magnificent CGI.
Yeah.
I have one more thing to say about Lucas. Maybe he did make the prequels solely to sell toys.
I don't think so.
Not only did he listen to your complaints about Jar Jar, he put Jango and Boba Fett's origin in this film solely for you.
That's true, yes. I know that... I found out that when he killed Boba in episode 6, he actually didn't know that Boba Fett was a popular character and was surprised when people were upset about it. So then after that, it really seemed like he tried to like apologize to them, because like in the original trilogy, he like put Boba Fett in episode 4 in the Jabba the Hutt deleted scene. He like in episode 6, he like added in those scenes of him like flirting with girls. And here in episode 2, he created an origin story. So it seems like this is like his way of apologizing. Like, I'm sorry. Here's more stuff for him. I hope you guys are gonna be happy about that. I guess they were, but I'll say he treated Lucas with a lot. Treated Boba Fett with a lot more respect than Disney, which Disney just turned him into a weird, peaceful guy in his own TV show, and it's like that's not what we wanted to see, guys. Like, come on.
Because you thought Boba Fett's brief bounty hunting was cool and were pissed that he went out like a sucker. At least his father died with some honor.
Never mind. No, actually, that's another reason why Jango is better than Boba. He goes out in a much cooler way, being killed by a Jedi. Meanwhile, Boba just falls into a Sarlacc after his jetpack was accidentally stabbed by a blind guy. Like, I'm sorry, Jango had a way cooler death. I'm just saying. So, yeah. And we're done. 118.
You are in my very soul.
Yeah.
Tormenting me.
Yeah, it's very cheesy, but alright. Alright, and that was my reaction to CinemaWins' Attack of the Clones video. Yeah, he brought a lot of good points. Yeah, I still really like this movie, even if, again, it is my least favorite of the Lucas movies, but I still like a lot of what it does. And, yep, I'm really excited to get to Revenge of the Sith. So, yep, we'll see. We'll get to that soon. For now, that'll be it. So, peace.